everyone. A techie. I know, that's such an unusual term. I think it just works, I work in tech. Techie. So it was a Monday, and my phone was going off the hook. It was ringing, well, not ringing, vibrating, you know, text messages and such. So the text messages were going off. My Facebook feed was getting flooded. It was as if it was my birthday, but it wasn't my birthday. It was a day in which I was going to be on the cover of a national magazine. The title was Woman of the Year in Tech, me. And I was excited, but I wasn't excited because it was no longer true. Magazines take a long time to come to print. So 6 months ago when I did the photo shoot, I was on the top of the world. I had started my own startup. I had learned how to code by myself. I had moved to the Silicon Valley. I had built a mobile app and a website, and I had thousands and thousands of users. I raised money from a man in China who was the 7th richest man in the world. That was me, little girl from Colorado Springs. But on the day the magazine came out, I was bankrupt. It had all ended, because that's how business works. One day you're up and one day you're down. So I was embarrassed. I didn't know what to do. I mean, everyone's loving on me. And I'm a narcissist, so I wanted all of it. Like, I wanted the love and the retweets and the mentions. But it wasn't true. And so I kind of went into hiding. Now, I'm a girl with a plan. When I was little, I knew where I was going to high school. And in high school, I knew where I was going to college. And in college, I knew what job I was going to get. And when I knew I was going to go to grad school, and I knew when I was going to meet my husband, and all that has mostly come true except for the husband part. You can't control love, you know. So I had this path. A little delayed over there. It's okay, it's fine. We all are on different timelines. So I was on this path, like I've always had a plan. So like the day that like my business had ended and this magazine came out, it was supposed to be Moment, I had already scheduled an interview at Facebook because I am not a girl who's gonna fall down. So I had driven down to Menlo Park, and it was like, it was going well. I had good references. It was going to be a thing. I'm walking down the hall, and it's everything that you imagine about Silicon Valley. The guys in hoodies, engineers, like pool tables. I can imagine like Sheryl Sandberg leaning in on the left side. Like, it was just very fabulous. So I get there, and I'm sitting, and the HR manager looks at me. And the very first question, innocent question, was, why are you interested in Facebook? And I said, I'm not. Like, I didn't know, it just came out. I barely could understand what happened. The interviewer's confused, like, wait, what? This is the Facebook. Everyone wants to work here. And I sat there, I was like, you know, actually, I'm gonna go. Like, in the middle of an interview, I just got up and left. And what I didn't realize was that, like, not only was I broke, but I was kind of broken. Like, I think I looked too fabulous to have a nervous breakdown, but like, it was happening. Like, I was having a breakdown. I called my mom. My mom was like, you're too young to have a breakdown. And I'm like, I looked it up on WebMD. I'm pretty sure that this is what it is. Elegant. Like, I kind of thought like it'd be like Kathy Bates in that movie, Fried Green Tomatoes. Like, you just get real angry. And it wasn't. It was just this calm. I was just numb. My favorite thing to do was to watch Telemundo for hours. I do not speak Spanish. Just hours of it, just like numb. I was running out of money. And luckily, like, I have friends in high places, so then I became playfully homeless. I put all my clothes in storage, all of my possessions. I had this ratty car, and I stayed on sofas for 2-3 months. I rotated so it didn't seem as if I was like really there, but like every couple days I would like cycle through, and I would sleep on people's sofas and in people's beds while they were going on conferences and living life, and I was on the struggle. But then it hit me that like, I don't have to be on the struggle in San Francisco, because that's an expensive place to like not have a plan. So I was like, I could go anywhere in the world. I could go to Nepal, and I can go to Paris. I downgraded that to LA, because you can drive there. So I got in my car and I drove to LA. And I went on a website, Airbnb, and found a woman who was looking for a roommate for 2 weeks on Venice Beach. I had just enough money to like pay for this room. And I was like, okay, great. So I roll up to this house. It's a shack of a house in Venice. She opens the door. She's blonde, blue eyes, and she's wearing a sari, as one does on Tuesday. Like, she was just so eclectic, like a hippie gypsy. On the wall, she used to write with sidewalk chalk, write things like, "You are here." Like, I'm not from the East Coast, so I went to school in the East. It was too much positivity. It was just too much. It was just too much going on. She was a tantric dancer. I went to 2 classes, still don't know what tantric dance means. She would drink her water through crystals, don't get that. Everything about us was different. But as the days went by, there was nothing else to do when you're unemployed. We just started hanging out, and we just kind of melded. And one day, she looked to me, and she was also, I should mention, unemployed, and she had been with a man who she thought she was trying to have a child with, and it turned out that he was impotent the entire time. And so she had to go through this struggle because she had turned 41, and her chance had left. So she was very obsessed with eggs, which is a bizarre connection. I mean, a literal one, but also bizarre. We had eggs everywhere. And she comes to me one day, and she's like, "You know what? I would like to be a bird." Yeah. I was like, "What type of bird?" She was like, "I want to be a dove. I want to talk about peace. I want to go to Europe and talk about peace and play." And so then I was just like, I dismissed it. And then a day or two, I started seeing feathers around the house. And then I saw a bird cage. One of you have seen the bird cage. She can vouch, it's a true story. Feathers, and it just got really big. And I'm like a project manager type. Like, if there's something that needs to get done, I'll do it. And it got really big. We started raising money. She started practicing on the promenade. Someone found out on the internet, and a Victoria's Secret designer gave leftover wings from the runway show. And so now she had these glorious set of wings to be an actual bird from a Victoria's Secret model runway show. And so one day she wakes up and she's like, "Kimberly, it's time for me to fly the coop." And off she went, and she flew to Barcelona with $500 and never came back. Where she still is, now she's doing TED Talks on the power of playing, because that's a thing. She does these bird release talks. She met the man of her life who has 2 kids that she is now taking, and she lives in Berlin. So all this was happening while I was still stuck in this house because I just chose not to go back to San Francisco. I was just living in this house, renewing week after week. So then it occurred to me, she was like, "Kimberly, like, why don't you take some classes? Like, why just sit in this home?" And I was like, "Okay." And for some reason, and this sounds so lame, I don't know why this is what I wanted to do, but I always thought I'd be a great voiceover actor. Like, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a voiceover class. So I show up, and the woman is like very ditzy, and she's just like, "You know what, voiceover sold, but stand up, open. It's the same thing." Which it's not. But like at the time, I was like, okay, maybe I need to be in the flow. Maybe I just need to do this. So I took a stand-up class, and I loved it. First off, half the people who do stand-up are also unemployed, so it was a great way to connect with people who had free time and no money, just like me. But something about failing on stage every day just got me so much stronger. Like, it just didn't matter. Like, if you can get in front of a room and someone just stares at you and like, "You're not funny," like, you can master that. Like, it's so much power if you can master it. And so I would go on stage, it wouldn't be funny, then it would be funny, and then growth, and then movement. And I feel like sometimes you just need a direction in anything. So I just felt like I had this thing. I had something that was mine. And it wasn't to make money, it wasn't a career, it wasn't like this huge plan. Because I've always had this list. And it was just something random. So it turns out I had a showcase. There was a woman in the bathroom, and she was talking about how she was a recruiter, and she couldn't find the talent that she needed. And she was specifically looking for someone who knew comedy, someone who was familiar with the startup space, essentially like a San Francisco transplant. But people in San Francisco would never come to LA, so she had to offer a huge bonus to attract this talent. I was in the stall at the time over-listening this. I like quickly handled it, got out, and I was like, I know a person. And that is how I got my job. Literally in the bathroom of a comedy club. And so now I am responsible for sourcing comedic talent and putting on YouTube all over the world, millions of users, etc. It's fascinating. Fast forward, I went home for Christmas last year, and I've kept these lists because I always kept them in this book. And I'm like reading like this bucket list of like all the places I wanted to work, all the things I wanted to do. And I looked down, it's kind of smudged, and I had written, Kimberly, at age 30, maybe try stand-up. It could be a thing. And it turned out it was. Thank you, guys.